Hari Om. In this part, we will explore the meaning of the 20th Shloka of Sri Vishnu Sahasranamam. Maheshvaso Mahi Bharta Srinivasa Sadam Gatihi Aniruddhas Suranando Govindo Govidampatihi. Now, let's examine the meaning of this shloka. Maheshvasaha means the wielder of the mighty bow. Maheshvasu has two meanings, the first being the wielder of the mighty bow, and the second, the discharger of great arrows. Maheshvasaha is a combination of the two words Maha, meaning great, and Ishvasa, meaning a bow. He is the wielder of the mighty bow. The great bow referred to here is Kodanda, wielded by Rama, and Sarangam, wielded by Mahavishnu. Sri Satyadeva Vasishtha points out that Ishvasa can mean the bow, that which throws or discharges the arrows, and one who has the great Dhanush is Maheshvasa. Mahan Ishvasaha Asya Asti Iti Maheshvasaha. Sri Parasara Bhattar interprets this as the discharger of mighty arrows. Mahan Ishunam Asaha, and gives the example of Lord Rama discharging the arrow to establish a bridge across the ocean to embark on his mission to vanquish the demon king Ravana and save Sita. Let's look at the story of Tirupulani. Tirupulani is a beautiful coastal village near Ramanathapuram and is intimately connected with the Ramayana. It's a small laid-back village with an unmistakable old-world charm and is 44th in the list of 108 Divyadesams that are sacred to Vaishnavites. Legend has it that King Dasharatha, seeking progeny, prayed to Lord Adi Jagannatha Perumal at this Divyadesam. His prayers fructified and he was blessed with the birth of Sri Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata and Shatrughna. Sri Rama is also said to have worshipped Sri Adi Jagannatha Perumal at this Divyadesam before setting out to Lanka. Adi Jagannatha Perumal gave Rama the Kodanda bow, which the latter used in the final fight with Ravana. The name of this Divyadesam has evolved from the words Pul and Anai, which means grass and bed respectively in Tamil. The reference is to the bed of grass, Dharbasayanam, on which Sri Rama lay while waiting for the Samudrarajan to facilitate the construction of the Setu bridge. More about that a bit later. Let's look at the Vibhishana Sharanagati, which also happened at this Punyasthalam. It was at this Divyadesam that Vibhishana sought Sharanagati at the feet of Lord Rama. In fact, Tirupulani is also known as Saranagati Kshetram. Vibhishana, brother of King Ravana, made several attempts to change his brother's evil mind from the atrocious act. In the end, Ravana threw Vibhishana out of his kingdom. Finally, Vibhishana left Lanka and surrendered at the lotus feet of Lord Rama. Lord Rama came to know the heinous act of Ravana through Vibhishana. It is very important to appreciate the extraordinary faith exhibited by Vibhishana when faced with a tough situation. He never had any doubt that Rama would accept his request for asylum. Vibhishana's surrender to Lord Sri Rama may appear counterintuitive, or perhaps even an unwise decision or a cowardly one. But Vibhishana calmly acted with faith and clarity, and in doing so, joined the ranks of the glorious souls that have wisely found refuge at the feet of the Lord. Another important point in this episode is the Lord's crystal clear and firm enunciation of his intent to protect anyone who surrenders at his feet. With the exception of Hanuman, everyone in the camp expressed doubts about Vibhishana's true intentions. All the arguments made by the doubters were drowned out in the Lord's categorical statement of intent. Sri Rama said thus in his Yuddhakanda, Sakriteva prapannaya tavasmi ticha yachate abhayam sarvabhutebhyo dadami etat vratam mama. Meaning, he who seeks refuge in me once, telling me that I am yours, I shall give him the assurance of safety against all beings. This is my solemn pledge. Sri Tirumangayarvar sang this pasaram at this Tirusthalam. Ilangumattum pavalaக் கொழுந்தும் எழில் தாமரை புலங்கள் முற்றும் பொழில் சூழ்ந்தழகாய புல்லாணி மேல் கலங்களில்லா புகழான் கலியன் ஒலி மாலை வலங்கொள் தொண்டர்க்கு இடம் ஆவது பாடையில் வைகுண்டமே. Sri Tirumangayarvar, also known as Kalyan, says Tirupulani is a beautiful place surrounded by deposits of pearls, coral reefs, lotus ponds and fragrant groves. Those who master this decade of verses by Kalyan on the Lord of Tirupulani will find a place in the state of unadulterated joy of Vaikuntha. This Divyadesam has also been glorified by other acharyas like Sri Periyanambi, Sri Ramanujacharya, Sri Parasara Bhattar, Swami Vedanta Desikan, Sri Nanjiyar and Sri Manavala Mamunigal. The Lord is also known as Dharbasayana Ramar. Let's look at this story. After the surrender of Vibhishana, Lord Rama engaged in a serious discussion with all his members on how to rescue and bring back Sita Devi from the clutches of the demon king Ravana. Rama, with his warriors like Sugriva, Hanuman, Vibhishana and the entire army of Vanaras, stayed in Tirupulani. Lord Rama underwent severe penance in a reclining posture on the dharba grass, a bed made out of dharba grass and hence known as Dharbasayana Ramar. At the Tirupulani temple, in the Sannadhi of Dharbasayana Ramar, we can see him on the dharba bed with a broad sword on his waist, along with Hanuman and Vibhishana. He spent 3 days on the banks of the ocean waiting to see Samudrarajan. Samudrarajan did not come to meet Rama. Lord Rama got angry and asked Lakshmana to get his divine bow. Fixing an arrow charged with a missile to his excellent bow, the exceedingly powerful Rama stretched it towards the sea. While Rama was stretching that bow, both the heaven and earth suddenly seemed to be enveloped by darkness. Winds of great velocity struck together in the sky and emitted flashes of radiance from lightning accompanied with thunder. Then Rama spoke these harsh words to the ocean. O Samudrarajan, I'll make you dry up now, along with your nethermost subterranean region. By a gush of arrows released by my bow, our Vanaras can proceed to the other shore even by foot. O Samudrarajan, you are not able to recognize my valor or prowess, and you will indeed get repentance at my hands. Hearing those words, Samudrarajan, together with his wife, arose from the middle of the ocean, encircled by the clouds and winds, approached Rama with folded palms, and sought his forgiveness with reverence. He then assured Rama that he shall facilitate the construction of a bridge across the ocean by remaining calm. Then Rama spoke to the ocean as follows: This great arrow will not go in vain. In which direction should it be directed? Then Samudrarajan advised Rama to direct it towards the northern side to Dhrumatulya. Rama released that splendid arrow towards that place, which is now known as Maru and is near the deserts of Jaisalmer in Rajasthan. Due to the granting of a boon by Rama, the desert of Maru became the most congenial and suitable place for living, bestowing the merits of Rama's blessings. Samudrarajan further advised that Nala, who was the son of Vishwakarma and given a boon by his father to be endowed with similar skills as him, should lead the construction of the bridge. Thus speaking, he disappeared from that place. It is said that Rama originally marked that spot for the bridge with one end of his famous bow Kaudanda, and hence the name of that place came to be known as Dhanushkodi, or end of the bow. Dhanush meaning bow and Kodi meaning end in Tamil. Nala initiated and built a bridge across the sea with the help of the Vanaras, as good as his father Vishwakarma would have built it. Rama, the Maheshwasa, the glorious and righteous man, wielding the divine bow, went in front of that army together with Lakshmana and Sugriva. After Rama won the war and crowned Vibhishana as the new king of Lanka, Vibhishana requested Rama to destroy the bridge. Rama broke the bridge with his bow. The series of rocks and islets currently found in Alliance suggests that there was indeed a former land connection between India and Sri Lanka. Lord Rama visited Tirupulani on his return from Sri Lanka, which is when he narrated to Sita Devi the events leading up to her rescue. Because of the surrender of Vibhishana and Samudrarajan, the place is rightly called Saranagadi Kshetram, and since the Lord reposes on the dharba grass, he is named Dharbasayana Ramar. Also, this is the place where Dasharatha was blessed by Lord Adi Jagannatha Perumal with progeny. Hence, this Divyadesam in Tirupulani is associated with messages of hope and reassurance. Now, let's look at the story of Parashurama's encounter with Rama. Parashurama hears that Rama has broken the Shiva's Dhanush in the Swayamvara held by King Janaka for Sita Devi's hand. Parashurama was perturbed that a Kshatriya warrior was able to achieve such a feat and wanted to engage in a duel with Rama. He encountered Rama's entourage and challenged Rama for a duel. King Dasharatha pleaded with him, saying that he has avenged the killing of his father, sage Jamadagni, by Kartavirya, a Kshatriya, by indulging in the destruction of Kshatriyas, and ended his revenge by promising to Lord Indra not to take up arms again. He pleaded that as Rama was young and newly married, Parashurama should not harm him and led him off. But Parashurama ignored Dasharatha and others and told Rama that Vishwakarma made two identical vows and gave them to Shiva and Vishnu respectively. Rama has broken the former. He says to Rama that he would be a worthy opponent if Rama is able to string the Vishnu Dhanush, which had been in the custody of sage Jamadagni and handed over to him by his father. Rama takes up the challenge calmly and strings the Dhanush with ease, and Parashurama is shocked beyond belief and looked at Rama intently. Instantly he understood him to be none other than Lord Narayana. Parashurama felt that he had lost all his prowesses, and the power of Vishnu that was present in him till then had gone back to Rama, who is also an incarnation of Vishnu. Rama then says to Parashurama that now that he has strung the bow, he needs a target. Rama explained that he cannot use the arrow on Parashurama, as his guru sage Vishwamitra's sister was Parashurama's grandmother. So in deference to his guru, he could not target him. Losing his luster, Parashurama told Rama to take away the fruits of his penance, and he needed the power of locomotion, since he had promised sage Kashyapa, to whom he gave the earth conquered by killing the Kshatriyas, that he would not remain on this land after sunset. Thus, through this Parashurama-Rama meeting, Rama's Paratva or supremacy is amply demonstrated. Rama destroyed the fruits of Parashurama's penance, and Parashurama offered his respects and, seeking Rama's blessings, departed to Mahendra Parvata. Since Parashurama is considered as one of the 10 incarnations of Vishnu, one might wonder how can he meet Rama and challenge him. Parashurama was an avatar for a specific task and a specific period. The divinity manifested in him only at the time of his destruction of Kshatriyas. Parashurama signifies the yogi who has rooted out the inner enemies like Kama and Krodha, which are portrayed by the Kshatriyas. When Sattva rises to the surface, there is peace, denoted by the gift of the earth to sage Kashyapa. The acts of Parashurama is Viveka or discriminative intellect, and Vairagya or detachment, armed with which one can conquer the inner foes. The incarnation comes to an end on the occasion of the meeting between Parashurama and Rama, when the Lord assumes back his powers. The Lord's arrows always achieve their objective without fail. It is said that Rama Banam Veen Pogadu in Tamil. Rama's arrows never go to waste and brings good to mankind. Mahi Bharta means the bearer of the earth. Mahi means the earth, and Bharta is the one who carries or bears it, and so literally Mahi Bharta is somebody who carries the earth. As Adi Shankara puts it, Ekarna Vaplutam Devim Mahim Babhara Iti Mahi Bharta. He carried the earth when it was drowning in water at the time of the great deluge. This represents Bhagavan's Varaha avatar. Sri Parasara Bhattar interprets this nama as referring to Bhagavan bearing the earth constantly as the Adi Kurma, the primordial tortoise, in his Kurma avatar. Sri Srinivasa Raghavacharya has pointed out Om Akhila Jagadadharaya Kurma Rupine Narayanaya Namaha as a reference to this act of Sriman Narayana. Bharta literally means husband or supporter. Mahi means earth, and hence Mahi Bharta means husband of the earth or husband of Bhuma Devi. The author of Dharma Chakram surmises that the gravitational force which keeps everything in this universe in its place is just a demonstration of the Shakti or power of this Mahi Bharta. Srinivasaha means in whom goddess Lakshmi resides. Shri refers to Lakshmi and Nivasam is the place or abode. Mahalakshmi emerged from the milky ocean as it was being churned for nectar. As the Devas were watching and waiting, she chose the Lord as she emerged. Bhagwan greeted her with sweet words and offered her the place on his Vakshasthalam, on his chest, very close to his heart. Sri Adi Shankara interprets this nama as Yasya Vakshasi Anapayini Shrirvasati iti, in whose chest the flourishing Lakshmi Devi resides, is Srinivasaha. Swami Chinmayananda points out that Shri connotes all glory and power, faculties and strength to be good and to perform creative acts of righteousness. She never resides permanently in a bosom, and even great saints and sages are known to have slipped from their pedestal occasionally. The only place where imperfections never enter is the seat of eternal perfection, which is the bosom of Narayana. This is a very elegant way of interpreting and understanding the significance of the statement that Shri is always in Lord's Vakshasthalam, or on his chest close to his heart. Sri Vedanta Desikan says that Bhagwan, in his Vamana avatar, had to conceal Lakshmi residing on his chest by covering it with a deer skin as he was going for the Brahmacharya Bhiksha from King Mahabali. Sri Satyadeva Vasishtha points out that Shri also means beauty or Shobha, fame or Vibhuti, wealth or Dhana. One who is the repository of all these is Srinivasaha. The statement that Shri resides always with Mahavishnu on his chest emphasizes the concept that Vishnu and Lakshmi should be viewed as one single entity, just as the fire and heat associated with it are not two separate things. Shri is the radiance, luster, success, wealth, and the beauty associated with Lord Narayana. Satam Gatehi means he is the ultimate goal of all spiritual seekers. This nama means one who is the ultimate destination for all spiritual seekers, Vedic scholars, or those wanting to lead a purposeful life. Sri Adi Shankara defines this as Satam Vedikanam Sadhunam Purushartha Sadhana Hetuhu. He is the one who fulfills scholars' pursuit of the ultimate goals of life. Swami Chinmayananda points out that this name implies that he is not only the final goal for these, but also the very direction, path, and progress as well. Bhagavan is the ultimate goal for the devotees. Now let's look at the story of Akrura. Akrura was an ardent devotee of the Lord and held a position of trust and integrity as a minister in Kamsa's kingdom. Kamsa trusted Akrura absolutely, and one day called Akrura and told him that all his attempts to kill Krishna had failed. All the demons sent to kill Krishna were killed. Kamsa wondered whether Krishna was the eighth child of Devaki about whom he had been warned. Kamsa says that Akrura has a duty to save his king, and therefore he must go to Krishna, persuade him with kind words, and bring him to Mathura. Akrura is delighted at the opportunity to see Krishna and departs. He does not fear for Krishna's safety, as he knows Krishna is invincible. Throughout the journey to Vrindavan, he constantly meditated on the Lord Sri Krishna. On reaching the place, when he saw the footprints of the Lord on the sand, he became so ecstatic and overwhelmed that he jumped from the chariot and rolled on the ground. Akrura realized that his desire to see Krishna was more than fulfilled because he got the chance to escort Krishna and Balarama to Mathura. Akrura became protective of them while he escorted them. He asked Krishna and Balarama to be wary of the turbulent Yamuna. When Akrura went to do his daily puja in the waters of Yamuna, he asked the boys to remain in the chariot. At the river, he had a vision of Krishna in the waters. He wondered if this was true, and hence, rising from the waters, looked into the chariot. Krishna was very much seated there with Balarama. Thinking to himself that he must have been hallucinated, he immersed himself in the waters for a second time. The Lord was very well aware of Akrura's innermost feelings. He now gave Akrura a vision of himself as Padmanabha on the serpent bed Adisesha. Akrura thus got Sri Krishna's special grace. Aniruddha means one who cannot be obstructed or blocked by anyone. Sri Adi Shankara interprets this nama as Nakenapi Pradhurbhaveshu Niruddha iti Aniruddha, somebody who cannot be obstructed or blocked from his set course. Basically, this is a statement of fact that the laws of nature cannot be circumvented by anybody. Examples of this guna of Bhagavan are seen all around us all the time. Nothing can stop the rising and setting of the sun, the absorption of sun's energy by the different things. The laws of nature are irresistible. Sri Parasara Bhattar gives the reference to Maula Samhita to support the interpretation for this name. Aparimita Cheshto Bhagavan Aniruddha. Unlimited are the exploits of Bhagavan Aniruddha. Swami Chinmayananda quotes the famous proverb, "Time and tide wait for no man," as an explanation for this nama. Bhagavan has been victorious and unobstructed in all his incarnations. The Dharma Chakram gives a very obvious example of the unobstructed nature of Bhagavan's wishes. Kamsa tried many things to get rid of the child, Krishna, right from the time of his birth. And in fact, he had even planned to get rid of the child long before the child was even born. None of his plans worked, and the child Krishna became the boy Krishna and got rid of Kamsa as he had planned. This nama not only says that no one can obstruct Bhagavan helping his devotees, but it also says that no one can save his enemies. Suranandaha means one who gives delight to the gods. The basic meaning is Suran Anandayati iti Suranandaha. He is a source of delight to the devas and hence he is called Suranandaha. The word Sura is composed of Su, which means good, and Ra, to give. Bhagavan is the one who brings happiness to those who bring good to the world. He assigns different functions to the various devas and delights them by helping them in times of their distress. One such instance is when the milky ocean was churned and the Lord gave the nectar or amritam to the Suras. All the incarnations of Bhagavan were designed to alleviate the sufferings of the devas by getting rid of the demons like Ravana and Hiranyakashipu who were oppressing them. Hence, he is rightly called Suranandaha. Sri Parasara Bhattar alludes to the Hamsa incarnation, which is extensively referred to in the Divya Prabandham, and a whole chapter is dedicated to this incarnation in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The following are references from the Divya Prabandham. Munni Velulagu Unarvindri Irulmiga Ambargal Toludeta Annamagi Andru Arumare Payandavane Yanakku Arul Puriniye. From Periya Tirumari. Meaning, when all the seven worlds were immersed in darkness because of all kinds of conflicting and contradictory beliefs, Brahma and Sanaka Sanandanadi Devas prayed to Lord Narayana. He appeared in the form of a Hamsa or a swan and gave them the benefit of the knowledge of the path of dharma or righteousness. The significance of Hamsa here is that it is capable of separating the milk from the water. So also Bhagavan identified the good from the bad for the benefit of the Suras. Tunni mannum vinnadum thonradu irulai. Moodiya naal annamagi arulmaregal arulit cheida amalanidam. Mannuma nilamum malaygalum kadalum vaanamum thanavar ulagum tunnuma irulai tulangoli surungit tollai nanmareigalum marayapinnum வானவர்க்கும் முனிவர்க்கும் நல்கிப் பிறங்கிருள் நிறம் தேட ஒரு நாள் அன்னமாய் அங்கு அருமை பெய்தான் அரங்கமாநகர் அமர்ந்தானே. துண்ணிய பேருருள் சூழ்ந்த உலகை மூட மன்னிய நான்மறை முற்றும் மறைந்திட பின் இவ்வுலகில் பேருருள் நீங்க அன்று அன்னமதானே அச்சோ அச்சோ அருமறை தந்தானே அச்சோ அச்சோ. From Periya Tirumari. In Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 13 of the 11th Skandam is devoted to Hamsa Avatar. There, Bhagavan describes how Brahma meditated upon him for guidance, answering the questions from Sanaka Sanandanas on the relationship between Buddhi, Atma, Gunas, etc., and how he appeared in the form of a swan incarnation and gave the Upadesha to him. Govindaha means one who is the protector of the cows. The word Go in Sanskrit has several meanings, viz. Earth, cows, speech, or Vedas. Depending on which meaning we adopt, we can assign different meanings for Govinda. Gavam Vinda Govindaha. Gavam means praise and Vindaha means recipient. He is Govindaha because he is the recipient of praise from the Devas for the help he renders as outlined in the previous Nama. Another interpretation is Gam Avindat, meaning one who retrieved the earth from the depths of the ocean. The following is from the Shanti Parvam in Mahabharatam. Nashtam vai dharanim purvam avindam vai guhagatam. Govinda iti tenaham devair vagbir avishtrutaha. Meaning, I first rescued the earth which was carried away and hidden in the depths of the ocean by an asura. Hence, I am praised by the appellation Govinda by the gods and scriptures. Gavo vedavanyo yam vindanti labante yatra va avatestante sa govindo bhagavan Vishnuhu. Meaning, one who is reached by Vedic chanting or one who is the abode of the Vedas is Govinda or Vishnuhu. In Harivamsa, we have the following. Gauresha tu yatho vani tam cha vindayate bhavan govindastu tato deva munibhihi katyate bhavan. Gau means words. You pervade all words, giving them power. Sages therefore call you Govinda. The protector of the cows, again supported from Harivamsa. Aham kilendro devanam tvam gavam indratam gataha. Govinda iti lokastvam stoshyanti bhuvi shasvatam. Meaning, I am Indra, the leader of the Devas. You have attained the leadership of the cows. So in this world, men praise you, always address you as Govinda. He is the protector of the cows and played the part of Gopala in Gokulam. Sri Satyadevo Vasishtha points out that the leadership of cows also suggests the importance of milk, ghee in worship, yagya, and how these also play a key role in the nourishment of the world. Sri Ananta Krishna Shastri gives the following 10 meanings for the combination of Go and Vid. Go Swargam, meaning he transcends heaven. Arrows, he knows all the weapons. Cattle, he is the leader of cows. Speech, he is to be known by the Vedas. Thunderbolt, he has the Vajra marks on his feet. Quarters, he is known in all quarters. Eyes, he is the seer in every person. The sun, he is in the orb of the sun. Earth, he recovered the earth from the ocean. Water, his seat is in the water. It all goes to show the richness of the name Govinda and how much it is packed with various meanings. Govitampatihi means the protector of those who know the Vedas. This means the protector and the leader of those who have studied the Vedas. The significance of this has to be recognized in that he is the source of all knowledge, and it is by his grace that knowledge is attained. Recall from the previous Nama that the word Go in Sanskrit has several meanings, including speech, earth, cow, etc. This allows other interpretations for this Nama. Bhagavan is also the master of speech of all other creations, such as birds, animals, etc. He is the leader of those who know the principal tattvam of this universe. Hari Om Tat Sat.